evening to everyone. This is not a joke coverage. That's what I've heard. The news is my old hat. And it's a very long time ago, which West Philippine Sea was a true moment in the Chinese Navy and the Philippine Navy and West Philippine Sea. And international maritime law. As you are going to read, which you can get the reference of the law, international maritime law, which you can find in any book. But I'm using an encyclopedic international maritime law. And now, according to international maritime law, that is encyclopedic, all that is the laws of a maritime is coming from the court, which is International Court of Maritime, and we are also had our own inter-island maritime law. But we are engaging on international maritime law. So how to solve the problem? If we are going to have a case inside in our inter-island maritime law, we are only limited for inter-island maritime law. Then we are engaging on the West Philippine Sea, and then the jurisdiction of every country is according to the source which you can find in the internet, and that is 200 miles. Commonly, it is being announced a very long time ago. 200 miles cannot reach in the West Philippine Sea, which is a lot of island there. And if you want to prove, then you can make a measurement. In 1 barrel of gasoline, how many miles that will be covered in 1 barrel of gasoline. Even that is in a high speed or in a lower speed, is just the same usage of gasoline. If you can make it to have 50 miles within 1 barrel of gasoline, then it's just the same way in the high speed or in a low speed, you can consume 1 barrel of gasoline. But in terms of the jurisdiction at sea in every country, that is accordingly and commonly announced from source on any source, that is 200 miles. But I cannot tell you, it's because I just implicate myself to understand that 200 miles. I am a nautical graduate, a theory graduate of nautical. I did not make it my apprenticeship since I have a sickness when it comes to sea. The ship, the Chinese vessels over there in the West Philippine Sea, they are punishable by law of the entire island marine law, maritime law, if they are inside and the jurisdiction of 200 miles. If not, so the Philippine Navy had no right, and that is the West Philippine Sea out of the 200 miles jurisdiction of the Philippine jurisdiction, that is considerably international economic zone. So what happened there in West Philippine Sea? There is a law of that, the international rule of the road at sea, and that is a Chinese-made book. That is a book, just like a pamphlet, a very small book, but it's as content of the rule of the road at sea, and that is international. And then as of my study and the theory of maritime learning, maritime study, I learned how to calculate plotting. I can understand 60 degree, 1 minute degree. I can understand miles. That is commonly used by the maritime calculation. In China, what is the use of calculating when you are at the captain over there, only implicating how many days and how many nights to travel? So there's no calculation for that. So the important is you can punish those Chinese vessels out of the jurisdiction of the Philippine archipelago. That is 200 miles from the land of the Philippine archipelago. And then, do not bring China and even those Chinese who are listening and watching this video. and they are entering in the jurisdiction of the Philippine archipelago, then the Philippine Navy has free to eliminate, to disregard this vessel, or to let them out the jurisdiction of 200 miles. And then you can refer that 200 miles jurisdiction to the United Nations. And then you can calculate how many miles you had run from the western side of the Philippine island. You can count into up to 200 miles. Then if you can do, you add more 10 miles, a little bit. Then if you can see in the west, up the Philippine Sea, West Philippine Sea, then if you can see the enemy, then why are you not going to file? Then, the same as usual. Rather, if you are going to enter in the Chinese jurisdiction, it's the same law that will be encountered, that you are going to meet. Rather, same jurisdiction as the Philippine archipelago jurisdiction. The 200 miles is just the same jurisdiction. Then calculate it much and make an implication, an estimation as about not to reach the jurisdiction of the Chinese jurisdiction, which is also the 200 miles, the same as the jurisdiction in the Philippine archipelago at sea. Then as I notice those ships sailing, and the last as of now as the vessel of Chinese vessel is at your astern part of the vessel, they are always at your astern part. There's no question of that in any way, as long as you are already calculated that you are out of the 200 miles. If you are really wants to make war, then you make war. In any way, the Philippine government, according to the Mutual Defense Treaty, the Philippine government is supported by the Americans, and that is the Mutual Defense Treaty. And then, in any way, the Philippine Navy are going to support, even the U.S. Navy are going to support. It's because the U.S. Navy is under by the Mutual Defense Treaty. And the Mutual Defense Treaty is continuing its jurisdiction between, and every president will be elected in the Philippine government. Then, why? If you really want a war in a proper and in a correct firing of your cannons in the vessel or machine gun, be sure that you are out of the jurisdiction, or maybe you are inside of the jurisdiction of the 200 miles. What if the Chinese vessel are going to shoot the Philippine Navy, no, in out of that 200 miles. The Philippine Navy is built lowest in support when it comes to the Navy, while the Chinese Navy are very big and they have own aircraft carrier. And then only one I would like to remind. It's maybe that vessel, this is not a lidar, and I am ready to face those who wants to shoot me at the back or at the face or in front of me. Why? Why I am ready? It's because this is my explanation. It's maybe the ship that always following you at the astern side. It may be that is built by also a Philippine Navy. It's like just like a kind of drama, my friend. The Philippine government is very rich just to build that kind of a very small ship like a yacht. So don't make a sense for that. You are not a child anymore. You cannot block my brain. So I hope you understand. That's what I mean, of sending this message to you. Even I'm in a very difficulty to send this message, but in a way that is true, pertaining to starboard side, port side, and the pro side. Yes, I am a nautical graduate and jury. Do not wait that those Chinese ship will be belongs to me, and I hope what I mean, rather I will belong to them, because I can speak Chinese only a kilometer, and I can speak Chinese language in a mile, and I can speak numbers of in the Chinese language 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on up to 0. So I'll give you an example how to pronounce the Chinese number. Yesan suwa wo karayo ba say one word. Yeah, that means 1. Er, that means 2. Yeah, sun, that is 3. So you got that? But I'm not implementing book of a Chinese that to be new to in any places in China. I just found out the book and old, then I covered it with a cell phone, and I shared something, a little bit of a Chinese word into English. But one thing I would like to remind, I don't like war. If they insist that I will be involved in war, so the time now, and even what I'm speaking of is a kind of war by a language. You see that? I'm very lax of speaking this because I'm in a hiding place, and you cannot find me. where you are going to find me. I can speak Russian, I can speak Spanish. At this presente momento is oras, presente tardes. Remain firme. Por oras, and futuro oras. It is noches after 12 o'clock. And we are usually know that kind of saying when we are celebrating New Year. Buenas noches. Noche buena. It's just the same. So, let's go back to your ship, Chinese vessel. I know where's that port side, starboard side, what I mean, astern part, ahead as pro. So I know that I'm also studying nautical, maritime study, maritime subject. So commonly that is used in English language, that is, and maritime law, and commonly used by Americans, that is miles, usually in Phil.jurisdiction and in learning in the school, in Bachelor of Science in Marine Transportation, that is 1 mile. A mile is equivalent to 1 knot. And then in 60 minutes, the 60 knot. And usually the run of the ship, that is only a usual 12 knots. 15 knots is in a high speed a little bit, and a lower run speed is 5 knots and 7 knots. But the questions, are you thinking that I am some kind of impostors like you see and there in my account YouTube? I think you think about that, but you are very wrong. I'm a nautical graduate here in the legal city. I'm sorry if I say something wrong, but for me, I did not say something wrong. I'm just a matter of a kind of teaching what is any part of the vessel and the international road of the sea. An international road of the sea that is made in China, what we had learned in the school, because we are using a Chinese book. I noticed that the book is still up in my hand and I kept it very well. But I discouraged when I heard and saw in the television and YouTube clip, video clip rather, that there are a lot of some kind of quarrel between, and they called it bully in the West Philippine Sea. It started in a kind of words that coming from the school in a classroom. But I admit already, since it is past and the Senate, casting all over the people around the world, and including, which may be in United Nations, and that will be included international maritime law. And international maritime law, according, I'd rather believe on the inter-island maritime law than to have to believe on the international maritime law. It's very quarrel in our international maritime law. West Philippine Sea is no jurisdiction out of that 200 miles. Do you understand that? If the Chinese vessel are going to fire the Philippine Navy out of 200 miles in the jurisdiction of Philippine Archipelago, no one will sick to that ship if that is already sink. I'm not giving a warning. It's because I'm also a Filipino. I forgot to my nameplate put in my chest. So let's understand what's going on about the maritime dispute. And according to the United Nations, and that is already stated, the 200 miles, and the disputed island, if that is located inside in the 200 miles jurisdiction, that is your responsible, the Philippine Navy. For me, I'm engaged and involved and belong rather. I rather belong in merchant marine. It's not the Philippine Navy. The merchant marine and the Philippine Navy is different. It's not same. The Navy are the military, while the merchant is engaged for commercial. So, how you are going to think about myself? Am I really a military? No. I don't like war. But if I'm forced to make war, and I will make silence, and I'm not going to warning, why I am going to silence? It's because I don't like war. But if you insist, I will run away, and I will hide, and I will just cry. So my friend, colleague in maritime study, so do not make, so I'm begging, do not make a rumor against me, because I'm not also making a rumor against the school. And you can see in my account, I'm very advocating to see in uploading such kinds of arms from Western country. But I'm not advocating it. I'm just showing what kind of arms they had and what kind of arms we had in the Philippine jurisdiction. So I'm very old enough, so it's time for me to express what I'm going to say. It's just like you, and even where you are located as of now, just always remember, when you're out of jurisdiction that 200 miles, you are not allowed to banish or wipe out or sink any vessel especially out of the jurisdiction of 200 miles of Philippine jurisdiction. I advise, and I'm not angry. So I just saying a precaution that will happen really if they cannot resist their temper. So much better to take my sayings in this video before you do. It's because our president, BBM, is very wide on influences and go every places to have transactions for that. And they forgot that the criticism is always there to express and to say something about it. And we have and for the good of the people. I'm not going and I'm not making a campaign for a kind of politics. It's because everything you are going to do when it comes to maritime law, you are going in international maritime law. We are urged to have reference in the court, and that is accordingly from the court, and every things that we are going to react and out of the law of the international maritime law. So we need to refer our negligence, what is our mistake, our misunderstanding to the other country, which is commonly now at present the trouble in West Philippine Sea. Before I saw that so many video, it's really pity. They are also a human being, and I remind again, I don't like war. So it's because why I don't like war. I have also I'm content already with my life, just to have being a licensed caregiver. If you want to show my you want to see my license, then I can have even my transcript of record in the school studying as a caregiver. I have my own. But in the war in the West Philippine Sea, you need to have reference in the court. And there is an international maritime law, and you can find that, and you ask that, and the United Nations, and then the International Court of Law, and in the International Court of Justice, whatever you like. But in times of war and international maritime law, it is not mean that we need to drive them away in our jurisdiction or in any horizon that you can see as the enemy, to let them drive away from our side with our cannons and machine guns. I saw that. I saw that already. It's very bad. But the uploading of this video, and there are a lot of, it's maybe a kind of a secret war against those countries and the other countries. It's not yet uploaded in the video, and even in our jurisdiction, it might be not uploaded in a video and a YouTube as rather the internet. So much better you need to have take regards with my saying. It's because all I could say is maybe those ships are very small. It's not a carrier, aircraft carrier. And then I saw already there are many boats have been fired by the Air Force, which is, the PLA Air Force is not really firing that. It is a kind of plane of someone came from an Air Force. I don't know where that Air Force came from. And I saw it, how they blow the numerous ship in the sea. If that disputed island in the West Philippine Sea, to tell you, my friend, if that is not belong to the 200 miles of jurisdiction of Philippine Archipelago, you are in any entry, because Chinese government and Chinese forces, you cannot, it's a very big country. It's a very big country, and it has so many forces, any kind of forces. Once they are going to fire on that island, not belong to 200 miles, and you are subject only in a war, then the subject for a trouble and encounter as a Third World War, and your vessel is sink already, and you try to have a claim in the International Court of Justice, and the judge are going to throw away your complaint. It's because you are out of jurisdiction. You must calculate before the Chinese forces, the Chinese Navy are going to calculate by their own. And I saw visiting forces from China and British and America are already anchored there in the harbor of Manila, and any kind of ships. But I can only say it's a very good, because all of the great forces in the whole world are anchoring their vessel and Manila Harbor. But when somebody or other to complain, they are going to right away to refer it the International Crime Court, or rather an International Court of Justice. And we hoping that the United Nations law will be passed and recognized by the International Court of Justice and International Crime Court. And if not, your being out of the 200 miles jurisdiction will make you worsen and worsen and worsen till a very inferior Navy in the whole world. This ship, just recently this morning, I saw how they are always at the astern side, and 1 mile or 0.5 miles, I think, estimated measurement or calculation at the astern side of the ship of the Navy of our jurisdiction. Well, there's no such trouble of that, and that is not provoking. And this is not a bully. So the The other news I saw, the pointing of the laser light of the Chinese vessel, it's the same way. And they are uh, blowing their water cannon. It's the same way. It is a very small vessel, and I can make a comment that it is your own. The Navy who built that ship, it's very cheap of amount that kind of vessel. And even myself, I can make and build that kind alone. Yes, that is true. But if I am going to have very and working hard, then I can make money. So I can build that 30 feet, 40 feet length of the vessel. And even myself, if I am going to have a hard working every day, I can buy that. But as of now, I'm very content of myself because I am a caregiver license. You know that what is that caregiver? It's equivalent of nursing aid, Red Cross, and that is my job, and that is my obligation. I don't care those job the other people had. So why I saw it, how they file the Chinese vessel, commercial vessel. Before you are going to file, make sure that you can have a search entire the ship from one ship to another, ship, and you have an evidence. Don't have arms, before you do the bombing and missile targeting of the ship. If they are going to retaliate that, how about that? We are really a pity Navy, and I will not admit that I am a Navy. I am only a graduate of Jury of Merchant Marine, and I can only count how many steps of that 1 mile, and that is equivalent of feet, and the statute mile, it is also equivalent feet, and the PLA, that is belong to China. You know what is the meaning of PLA? And that is the Air Force of China. And PLA will not do that just to kill their people. It is our Air Force do. So good night, my friend. And then one thing I would like to remind, in a military manner, you can do anything you like. In the West Philippine Sea, a very wide horizon, you can do anything you like. I know we had our own submarine, and they have their own submarine, and they have their own plenty of Chinese vessel and the navies of ours. Why? In terms of making a quarrel or a bully, rather, in a Senate, why you are not going to do any trick so that you can have your own perfect satisfaction of starting World War III and the West Philippine Sea. Good night. It's 10 o'clock. So I estimate the hours and time in the Philippines. Thank you very much. Thank you.